What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of The Cure. And we're returning to Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, 1987. And the next tune is If Only Tonight We Could Sleep. I like the phrasing, it's a bit oldie-timey or, more antiquated syntax. But either way, it feels like a lament, it feels like a regret. If only we could sleep seems to imply that you cannot sleep. Now, there could be any number of reasons for that, internal, external, interpersonal, but at the same time, it feels like whatever the source, the outcome is already predetermined. So, yes, I wonder the context in which this sentiment and phrase and perhaps empirical/biological reality is taking place. Let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is The Cure. The tune is If Only Tonight We Could Sleep, and it's from their 1987 album Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Sitar. what a surprising tune on multiple levels. Okay, so it starts instantly. I hear what I think is a sitar, so it gives it an Eastern vibe right away. It's very not only syncopated, but it feels a bit dissonant, feels like too strong of a word. It wasn't like melodically challenging or anything, but it felt very otherworldly, like a bit strange, I guess is the right semantic intensity for what I'm trying to characterize. And the more it went on, the more I was intrigued because I thought it was an instrumental. Once you get like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, now I shouldn't think that with The Cure. There's been multiple times where after 2.5 minutes, suddenly we get vocals and lyrics, and that was the case here. But, I was really convinced we were listening to an instrumental with a very Eastern flavor, and because of that strange, syncopated rhythm and feel to it, it felt maybe like a dream, like a fever dream or a vision type of dream, but one that perhaps wasn't clear or was very otherworldly. Then there was that guitar, which at first sounded like it was taking a bit after the sitar, like it was a sitar type melody but played on the guitar. Then there was a moment when it actually reminded me just a little bit of some of the more like psychologically murky tracks in the Trigun soundtrack, which is maybe an obscure reference here. But yeah, so I'm trying to like follow the melodic strokes and stylings of the tune, and then suddenly we get Robert's voice, and he's saying, "If only we could." And then I suddenly realized, oh, in advance, I didn't think of it like a conditional, an if-then statement. And it's like, oh, well, if it is that, then we're only getting the first part of the conditional. If only we could sleep tonight, then something, something, something. Something would happen, something would be the case. And so it like instantly made me lament that I didn't think of that in advance. But okay, so then if only we could sleep tonight, we do it on a bed of flowers, something like that. There was something about like in the water. If only, what was it, like an angel with stars for eyes could envelop us in its velvet arms. Like it felt like the kind of lines you'd hear in a prayer, or the kind of lines that are, metaphysical, like poetically spiritual or something like that, where you're using common, everyday, terrestrial visuals and concepts to express something that's like transcendent or, again, supernatural, metaphysical. So, yeah, I didn't catch all the lines, and there was one at the end where it was like, there was a particular word, and of course I'm going to blank on it now, but I wondered it's going to kill me, of course, and I'll remember as soon as I stop the video. But yes, there was a line toward the end where I felt like if it went one way or the other, it would make a notable difference for the line itself. Again, I apologize, I can't call it back in the moment. But just in general, a small set of lyrics, a visual and yet seemingly prayer-like set of lines, which again, given the given the sitar and the otherworldly feel, maybe that's, very much the territory we're working in. And again, maybe, the idea of being in a vision, whether it's, let's say, chemically induced or because of meditation or whatever, it feels like maybe that's why they can't sleep. So, yeah, I don't really know what's happening lyrically, but I'm intrigued by what I did catch. And sonically, just another example of how diverse their catalog is. And, on the same album that you get a more poppy tune, you get a heavy, darkly emotional tune, then you get a very abstract tune, and then you get a tune with a bit of an edgy, sort of post-punk feel to it. They just really have a variety of songs, or, sounds and styles. So this is another example of that. Now, to be fair, we've heard other tunes where they've had, like, Eastern-style instruments. There's been a couple where they had a very, like, East Asian feel. So this is not unprecedented, but it's still another example of how unpredictable their music can be. So another cool one. Let me know what you think. I will see you for the next one. Peace.